Go DJ, that's my DJ. Go DJ, that's my DJ. Go DJ, that's my DJ. Go DJ, yeah.
Don't turn your channels. You're in the right place. DJ World Premiere here today, ladies and gentlemen, or Scoli, whatever you want to refer to me as. The boys got a weekend off. Shout out to Doko. Happy birthday. Shout out to Lace. Lace is on vacation. Hey, I want to tell y'all, Son went from perfect attendance. I gave Son a hiatus. Son got the best vacation. Shout out to him. Today we're going to do something a little bit different here on the Use Pod. I am going to do a review. We talk a lot about movies. We talk a lot about TV shows, and we absorb this content and a lot of things that I've done in other channels, on other pods, on any other platform. I like to give good reviews like when I watch something. You know, I'm in the Letterboxd community. I still don't know how to work the app the best way yet, but I'm in that community. We have a lot of conversations about TV shows and movies. And I've done reviews on my other channels, whether it's about Star Wars, Snowfall, just anything. I've done reviews on the Marvel stuff. Shout out to Gojo for being a part of the Marvel Talks conversations that we've had. And recently I was able to watch a show on Netflix called Monster, the Ed Gein story. Now, this is the third season from Netflix and the show Monsters. Ryan Murphy created this. I'm not sure what his role is in it because I don't go hunting down the details. But Ryan Murphy did Dahmer. He did the Menendez brothers. This is the third installment in the series of Monsters. And I know that these stories about serial killers, they get a very bad take. They get a very bad rap. And rightfully so, because why the fuck are we cheering on? Like, sometimes we always root for the villains. Like, a lot of y'all love Thanos. Thanos was right. A lot of y'all love Thanos. And it wasn't strictly because Thanos got to do all the bad shit and he was a badass and he had the gauntlet. It wasn't that. The villains have to work harder in the movies than the heroes do. The villains have to take advantage of their time on the screen. The villains get the best monologue because you're already on the hero's side because they're on the side of right. They're protecting you. So you're always going to silently root for Iron Man. Fuck Cap, by the way. But you're always going to silently root for Iron Man and Scarlet Witch. You're always going to root for them. But the villain has to work harder. Bane is going to come through and he's going to give you that bomb-ass speech before he puts hands and feet on Batman. But you fall in love with those monologues. You fall in love with them giving you their motivation to what they're doing. And, you know, a lot of their shit is misguided, but the villains have made movies and TV shows really cool. Serial killers, unfortunately, serial killers that were based off real life events, whenever movies are made or TV shows like these are made about these folks, people don't want to support it. A lot of people didn't watch this content because they felt like it was a romanticization of the serial killer. They saw Dahmer, they saw people were talking about how it was going to win awards and blah, blah, blah. And people said, yeah, I can't support that because it's disrespectful to the victims. I don't fully agree or think that that's accurate. I think that we create the same content about fake stories and nobody blinks an eye, right? Like, that's just what we do. We create stories about fake characters and it's peace. But if you find out that it was real, oh, hey, I can't support this. I don't want to be somebody who supports this. We got to respect the victims. Oh, well, listen, I think that making it known how this kind of stuff happened, because it already happened. So making it known that how this stuff happened, having these reenactments, it's nothing different than when you were little and you watched Unsolved Mysteries at your grandma's house. There's just people acting this stuff out, and it's focused on them. It's a dramatization. Ryan Murphy did an excellent job with Dahmer. I don't think that we can ever say like, hey, you can't top this. I don't think you can top this. You set the bar too high. I do believe that what he's done with Dahmer, what he did with the Menendez brothers was also a fucking different speed from Dahmer. It wasn't just murder, kill shit. Like, he talked about his repressed emotions, him and his sexuality, his issues with his parents, his mental health. Like, they covered a lot of topics in that show. The Menendez brothers, they covered a lot of topics too. And Ed Gein is in the same vein. Now, Ed Gein, and this is something I wasn't aware of before I started doing research for the show, before I watched it. Ed Gein birthed the horror genre in movies. What he did in real life birthed a whole genre of movies. Was they making horror movies back then? Maybe. Maybe they was. Who knows? But the movies that they directly stole from this incident or these incidents that Ed Gein created, Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock took this and he made Psycho out of it. The Chainsaw Massacre came from Ed Gein. Silence of the Lambs came from Ed Gein. In real life, when Son was locked up, they used him as an informant to kind of help catch other serial killers, other fucking weirdos that was out here doing weird shit. And I thought that was really interesting. And they definitely included a point to show everybody during these 8 episodes how what he did impacted the creators of these other movies, whether it's Silence of the Lambs, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and everybody gets an episode. Out of this 8 episode series, everybody gets an episode if his actions influenced other movies in this genre. So I really thought the storytelling with that was excellent. The pacing, I'm not even going to be polite when I say this. The pacing for Ed Gein Monster series is slow. He catches a body in the first episode. I don't want to paint the picture that, hey, he don't catch a body until episode 6 and then the shit's about to go off. No, he catches a body in episode 1. But the pacing is slow because Ed Gein is slow. And this is the 1930s, the 1940s in Plainfield, Wisconsin. I want to let y'all know right now, stay the fuck out of Wisconsin. Dahmer was in Wisconsin, bro. Ed Gein is in Wisconsin. Stay the fuck out of Wisconsin. If you're black, you have no business being in Wisconsin, except for Cuckoo Cow. Shout out to Cuckoo Cow in my projects, Milwaukee, stand up. But everybody else, if you black, stay the fuck out of Wisconsin. I promise you, nothing good is going to happen if you ever go to Wisconsin. Episode one starts and Ed Gein's mom, Shorty, is Roseanne's sister from the show Roseanne. She looks just like herself. You know, she old. Son is in the bedroom wearing panties, garter belts. He's standing on a stool and he's rubbing one out with a belt around his neck. And he's like, yo, son's freaked out. Son's freaked out early. If you sat down and watched this, you probably said, huh, he getting to it already. That was some weird kinky shit that I didn't know niggas was into. I didn't know niggas was into that until the internet happened. But for somebody in the 30s to say, yo, I want to jack off with lady garments on. Like that's a wild boy with the belt around his neck. So he's getting to it upstairs in his bedroom. His mama's cutting potatoes and she's calling for him. She's hollering for him. And then boom, she busts in the room while he's standing at the door and he falls off the stool and she's just like, you ain't got no shame, boy. She's disappointed. Imagine your mother catching you in one of those most intimate moments. I would be fucking mortified. Shorty went and got the Bible and said, take my panties off. Hold on a second, brother. Hold on a second. You wearing your fucking mama's panties? Nasty work, Ed. Nasty, nasty award of the year goes to Ed. So now he's got to go downstairs. Ed's got to go downstairs. His mom's preaching to him. Son didn't even put drawers on. He came downstairs butt ass. And he's getting lectured some biblical shit. And the world that they're painting is that Ed is weak. He's a weak man. And his mother has just absolute control over him. And I really wish they got more or highlighted more attention on Ed's mom because she had issues. She was super biblical. And these were, I'm not going to say these were those times, but I think people are, beat up on religion today, but I could recognize that she was a big part of his issues, the issues that he had. Now, I don't want to absolve Duke. He's a nasty young man. He has some weird sexual proclivities. But I don't think that, shit. If we had to condemn people for nasty proclivities, hey, you foot niggas is out of here. You niggas that's out here asking women for feet content, you niggas are out of here. Those are the real monsters. You feet niggas are the real monsters. But I really wanted more information about her, but I understand that you probably don't have a lot of information on her, where she went to school, and that's probably it. She was probably very low profile. They lived in middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, and they had a farm. You're not going to get too much from somebody that was born in the 1800s and passed away in the 1940s. Like, you're not going to get too much information on Shorty. But I would have liked some of that. Not like we just made this shit up so that it would look cool in the movie. Like, I really wanted to know like some real information on Shorty. But I could see that a lot of the shit that happened with him spurned from his relationship with his mother. His mom said to him after he got dressed. Oh, also, after he gets dressed, after getting this biblical lecture, he just put some pants on. He put some pants on in the dead winter, Wisconsin winter. No central heat in the crib. Like, you got a wood stove that's heating the crib, right? He put pants on with no drawers. He raw dogged some dress pants. I didn't like that. I didn't care for that. I didn't care for that at all. I thought that was a little strange. You just gonna raw dog them pants, big bro? But whatever. That's just me. Hey, if you a raw dogger, then live your life, but stay the fuck away from me, especially at the pharmacy or the grocery store. If you see me and you ain't got no drawers on, don't speak to me. Um. So Ed's out there. He's eating dinner with his mom, and she said to him, "Only a mother could love you." And that shit rang off in my head. I was just like, "Ain't that a diss?" And he smiled so big. And the guy that's playing Ed Gein, sorry, I'm kind of all over the place early. The guy that's playing Ed Gein is Jax from Sons of Anarchy. I watched this series, the whole series, and in my notes app, my notes app looks like I'm a serial killer. In my notes, I said, "Yo, whoever the fuck is playing Ed Gein is smoking this shit." Son's acting his ass off. Cause Ed Gein's like a, I don't want to say he autistic. He's slow though. He definitely slow, and he talks very soft. He talks kind of like this, and why would somebody do that? And he's just a real soft spoken young man. But when she says to him, "Only a mother could love you," I'm like, that's a diss, right? And the way he lit up while he was eating fucking beans, that was a emotional reassurance to him that his mom loved him. But that's not what she said. She said only a mother could love you. And one of her largest points of contention as a character was that she didn't want him to procreate. She didn't want him to be with women. She didn't want him to get a woman and move out and live his own life. Like she said that was a sin. She told him sitting at the dinner table, "I only laid down with your father 2 times. I laid down with your father 2 times. And that's how I got you. And that's how I got your brother. I laid down with your father 2 times, but hey, let me tell you something. Laying down with a motherfucker is a sin." Do I think she was capping? 100%. 100%. 2 times. 2 times. And hey, if son got you pregnant off the 2, either you're really fertile or he's hitting a home run every time. I don't know. I can't even put words to it. But anyway, they're going back. They're talking about tending to the farm, and they're talking about his brother. So the next day, he's in the farm. He's milking the cows. He's cutting lumber and shit. Like, he's doing farmer's work. When you have a farm back in those days, you got to maintain the shit. So none of this shit is looking like it's fucking new to me. But this is where I'm talking about how the pacing is. It's kind of slow. There's not a lot of dialogue in some of these moments. You're just kind of watching Ed be who he is. And Ed lives in his mind a lot. And we're going to get to that a little bit later, but Ed lives in his mind a lot, and it's not because he's slow or he's got any mental issues. It's because he's secluded. The way that they're painting this picture, Ed Gein lived in Plainfield, Wisconsin, and his home was close to 10 miles from his neighbor. About 25 miles, 30 miles from town. So this is peak seclusion. There's no fucking, we just gonna pop up at your crib and hold words with you. Like, I need to know you home before I come over there type shit. But he's cutting lumber, he's doing his thing, and then his brother pops up. And as soon as his brother pops up on the scene, I can tell that his brother is the one that got away. His brother is the one that rebelled against the system. He shows up and he's smoking a cigarette. He's got a little derby hat on, a little Kango hat, and he's laughing. And as soon as he sees Ed and Ed sees him, Ed says, Oh, mother's gonna get you. And he's just like, Mom ain't getting me shit, bro. His brother's having a conversation with him, and his brother's telling him, yo, mom is on bullshit. Mommy's on bullshit. Ed, mommy's on bullshit. I got a girl. I'm finna get married. I'm finna leave town. Ed is telling him, yo, mommy needs you here. Mommy needs you to help tend to this farm. And mommy's not going to let you get married. And that further lets you know where Ed is mentally. He doesn't understand that your mom can't stop you from doing these things. And I know those times were different. And I know people, traditional people back in those days, they were more obedient to their parents. What their parents thought and what their parents approved of or didn't approve of, that changed their world. People wouldn't do shit if that was something that their parents wouldn't approve of. They wouldn't date somebody if my parents wouldn't approve of you. I'm not going to go do this because what will my parents think? Oh my gosh, what will my parents think if I didn't go to this college and get this job? Oh my gosh. Like your parents and what they thought about you, it meant everything. Today, you kind of see the same thing, but it's with social media. Some of y'all will go crazy if you couldn't get that acceptance from social media. That's the same thing that was happening back then with parents. So I did like the little back and forth that they had because it showed that like he kind of rebelled against the system. He went and did his own thing. He got him a shorty and he about to have a good time. He's about to have a good life. He's finna tip on out and he's trying to tell his brother like the world is cool. It's cool to live in the world. It's not all that biblical and this is a sin and you gotta live. It's not all that heavy Catholic nonsense that mommy's talking about. It's really cool out here in the world. Look at me smoking a cigarette. I don't think it was a Newport. It looked like, but anyway, and they're having this back and forth, quick dialogue. And he's talking about leaving and he's standing in front of Ed and he's got his back to him. And Ed picks up one of the pieces of wood and he hits him in the back of his head. His brother grabs his head, you see the blood, and then he just falls out and he's bleeding. And Ed takes the wood and he said, "Oh, I played a joke on you. Ha ha ha." And he puts the wood in the cart and he walks out of the shed. And Ed turns around and looks and sees his brother on the floor with the blood coming out of his head. But then he sees his brother stand up, say, "You know what? You're right. I'm not gonna marry that girl. I'm gonna talk to mom and make it right and I'm gonna apologize to her." And Ed smiles and then his brother closes the barn and Ed just runs back to the house. Now he runs to the house and this is one of my biggest issues with the show. A lot of times in this show, especially in my notes app that I took my notes from this, a lot of times I wrote down, am I crazy or is Ed crazy? Am I crazy? Is this real? Ed Gein was, I think by the end of this, by the time he gets locked up or whatever, I think he's classified or diagnosed as a schizophrenic. Trigger warning for anybody with mental health issues. And it's funny because I got a little bit of that in my family, so I didn't see a lot of it, but it's funny because I did a lot of research when I found out, and I always wondered, like, I wonder what that's like. And sometimes you see the horror stories and people, it's like dealing with somebody with dementia. A light switches and boom, they think they're somebody else, or they think they got a different life, and they're having a conversation with you about it and they believe it. But I was wondering exactly how they were going to make this a point in the show. And that was one of those points where you're seeing things through Ed's eyes, and his delusions of grandeur are really making him not understand the consequences for his actions. Ed was a sick guy. I think today he gets some lithium. He gets a good, prescription, a good cocktail or whatever the fuck. And I think he's just a normal guy walking around society until he doesn't take his pills and he just fucking has a moment or an episode or a spell, as they used to call it back in my grandma's day. But then they couldn't diagnose shit and they didn't know shit. And I don't know, it's just a sign of the times. But that was the first clue that let me know, they're going to play into this. This is going to be something that you're going to see in the show a lot, where he's having these fantasies that are happening while real life is happening around him. But for me, the watcher, I'm having a hard time understanding in some points of this show what's actually really happening and what's really happening, and what are they just saying like, hey, this is, some fantasy shit that's happening at the same time. So I'm going to break more into that later. But yeah, he catches that body. He goes in the house. He eats dinner with his mom. They're talking. He's like, yo, I don't know what his brother's name is. It was like, did he come see you today? And his mom's like, nah, I ain't seen him in weeks. And he was just like, oh yeah, I talked to him. He said he's going to apologize. And she's telling him once again, hey, only a mother could love you. That's control. That type of love bombing, well, I can't even call it love bombing, but that kind of control sets the mood for what their relationship is. And if you've seen Psycho, then you have a great understanding of what their relationship is like. So son is having dinner with mom and he goes to bed like normal day. Wakes up in the morning, he goes to work, he's doing his shit, he's milking cows, he's baling hay, farmer shit. He's living a farmer lifestyle. Man, and in my notes, I got it here. 25 minutes into the episode, I say, man, that boy ain't right. Because like when you in a small town and you see somebody and they ain't right, you're like, man, that boy ain't right. So he goes back to the barn and his dead brother's there and it hits him. Oh shit. I really hurt him. I really hurt son. He's still there, dead body, cold, stiff. So he panics. He takes his brother's body, drags it to the field. His mom gave him a chore list of shit to do with the land and they had to burn some brush. So he starts burning the brush. He lays his brother out there and boom. He runs to the crib. He tells his mom, yo, son fell out. Call the ambulance. So they call the ambulance. They get there. They take him. He dead. He laying in the morgue. And Ed's recanting what happened. And he said, yeah, we was doing brush fires. We was clearing this shit out. And the shit got out of control. And he fell out. I guess it was smoke inhalation. And the coroners are looking at him. The cop is looking at him. And they're like, yeah, the bruising kind of matches what you're saying. But son is frozen. Like, son is a popsicle right now. And Ed Gein sitting there like, yeah, these Wisconsin winners, these Wisconsin winners. And I'm like, you're never going to pass the ME, the medical examiner. You're never going to pass the ME with this weak ass shit. But then I remember it's the 1940s. You're definitely going to pass the ME with this weak ass shit, Ed. Good job, sir. Good job with that one. So they bought it. His mom freaks out. She goes crazy. She has a stroke. Shorty strokes out. And as somebody who had a stroke, I think her shit was way more dramatic than mine. Way more dramatic. Shorty stroked out. She in the hospital. Left side of her face is fucking dead. She can't talk. She can't fucking walk. She in a wheelchair. And what did the doctor say? Hey, when you have a stroke, we got to keep your blood thin. Your mama's going to have to take an aspirin every day for the rest of her life. And I'm laughing because they're still prescribing that bullshit today. I take aspirin every day. What kind of bullshit is that? It's been damn near 100 years. We don't have no better thing for strokes than a fucking aspirin? A daily aspirin? Man, that's some weak shit. But shout out to all the strokies out there listening to the pod too. Hey, if you had a stroke, shout out to you. Because that's some hard shit to come back from. And this was the beginning of the end for her. Now, her impact, Ed is still at home, lives at home, never moving out. He's now the caretaker for his mom. He's taking care of her and he's bathing her. Now, this is something that they made this shit very, very freaky. And that goes with the character of Ed Gein, but they made that moment a little bit more intimate than I would have liked. He's giving her a sponge bath. She's naked, laying on the bed. He's sponging her. He's looking at her skin. Great titty though. She had a great set. I think that was Shorty from Roseanne that had that set, or maybe they used a titty model. I don't know. But he's obsessed. And he went to the local pharmacy. I guess the pharmacy is like the hangout spot because he's in there drinking a malt. You know, for all y'all that like milkshakes back in those days, they drank malts. And he's in there and he's waiting for his shorty and she comes through and they're drinking a milkshake together. And she's got this book. And this is what inspires son. She's got this book and it's like a comic book. So it's telling the story about what the Germans are presently doing, what the Nazis are presently doing to the Jews. It's talking about the Holocaust. And I thought this was really, really good for Ryan Murphy to kind of drive home what made Ed Gein who he was, what made him have this big mental break. And it was him seeing these pictures of dead bodies, the Jews from the Holocaust, seeing the photographs of what the Nazis were doing to the Jews. I thought that was excellent incorporation, and they talked about it frequently throughout the series, and that was kind of a mainstay character. The Nazis and this one lady, Ilsa Koch, they made her like a fucking superhero in some of these comics on what she was doing to the Jews. And she was taking their skin and doing shit with it, making lampshades, and she was just doing all this crazy shit with the Jews, and they incorporated that in the show. So I thought that was really key for his character development, but I also feel like they did exactly what they needed to do by saying like, hey, this guy had a mental health issue, and seeing these photos made him have that psychotic break to where this kind of shit was something that he turned around and executed. Because we, especially in those times, we're not normal. We're not used to seeing that kind of shit. Today, yeah, you can open up your phone app and you can see a motherfucker get shot today. And I think that we're kind of desensitized to that kind of violence. Some of y'all, scroll away when you see it, but I think today we're desensitized to that kind of violence. But back then, when you can't just see that every time you open up your phone, I think they were spot on by painting the picture that that's what made him the monster. His mom is on the mend. She's not doing the best. She's bedridden. She's in that wheelchair. But she gets to him one day and she's like, yo, we got to go see the Johnsons. They need to pay us our $10 because they planted crops on our land and they got to pay the rent for that. And I need to go do this because you can't. I can't trust you to be a man and take care of shit because you weak. So she continues to belittle him, and Shorty had a stroke. So she's not getting around the easiest, and she's not talking the easiest. So I still need you to kind of be my muscle, and I need you to drive me. I need you to help me get to and fro, but at the same time, I can't trust you with the serious business. So they get to the Johnsons. The Johnsons in the middle of an argument. They're him and his wife is getting to it, and Ed mom is like, yeah, you see that harlot? You see that harlot right there? And she's barking on niggas, spazzing. Yo, you motherfucker, I want my $10. Nah. And she going crazy. Next thing you know, she stroke out again. But this time, she gone. She gone, bro. She gone forever too. This shit was sad. I felt bad for Ed in this moment because, and maybe people are right for not watching this kind of content, because imagine saying you feel bad for a serial killer. Like, that sounds crazy. That's a wild sentence to say. But I felt bad for him because his mom was his everything. That's all he knew. She had that control over him, and he went from being her caretaker to now she's gone. So what purpose do we have? What exactly is he going to do in life now that his mom is gone? Like, that's a tough thing to deal with by itself. But when your mother kind of had that control over you for your whole life and you kind of did everything to please her, one would think, oh, well, now he's just going to fucking go be with Shorty and he's going to live a happy life now that he's not under her thumb no more. But that's really not what Ed's thought process was. So he buries his mom. It's just him at the funeral and a pastor. And I laugh because I put in my notes, yo, you could die back then and nobody would even fucking know it. How crazy is that? And that's exactly what happened. Shorty died and nobody came to the funeral. Nobody, sent casseroles to my man and, oh yeah, we're going to come around and surround you with love. Like, somebody died today. You got a million different ways where everybody's going to find out. But back then, nah. So, son is getting to it. He's in the house. He's in his freak bag again because it's just him. So he eating beans out the can. He just putting the can of beans on the stove to heat it up, using the fucking can opener to take it from the stove to the table, and then he's just eating the beans out the can. He is living a bachelor life. He's in his bedroom. It's late at night. What do you want to do late at night when you got the crib to yourself? Something nasty. And Ed is doing something nasty in the crib because he's by himself. And then he hears his mom's voice. You better stop that, Eddie. Oh my God. Hey, the last thing you want to hear when you get nasty by yourself in the dark is your mama's voice. But I thought that the actress still playing the voice in his head painted the perfect picture for what son was going through. Shorty told him, yo, you better stop defiling yourself. And he said, Mother, are you there? And now the psychosis begins or continues. I think it began when he fucking hit his brother, but it continues because now she's telling him, yo, go get me. Go get me right fucking now. So he goes to the graveyard. And I want y'all to know, if none of y'all ever had to dig a grave, not saying that I have on this recorded platform, but if none of y'all have ever had to dig a grave, it's extremely difficult to do. Okay? Digging 6 feet into the ground is extremely difficult to do. This young man was digging into the frozen tundra of Wisconsin when it's snow on the ground. It wasn't even just a regular ass day. It wasn't like a rainy day situation where you can kind of make your way through it. Son did this shit while it's snow on the ground. That's a strong motherfucking white man. Okay? A very strong white man. But he digs her up, and I couldn't understand what the fuck happened. I don't know if he hit a rock or they put concrete on top of her casket, but he hit something hard, rock or some shit, and he couldn't get to her. And he's having this conversation with her, but it's in his mind. And he's like, Mother, I can't get to you. Oh no, Mother. Oh no. And she said, it don't fucking matter. Go dig up the bitch next to me. So he looks, it's a grave next to her, and he just gets to digging. He dug 2 graves up in one day. Strong motherfucker. Built like an ox. He breaks into the casket, he picks this dead body up out the casket, and he takes it to the crib. He puts mama's dress on shorty, and he put her in the rocking chair. I want y'all to know that this is why you can't eat at everybody's house. Cause why the fuck you dig up that dead body and bring it back to the crib? Why would you do that, Edward? That don't make any sense. Shorty wasn't even your mom. So you got a stranger dead body in your house, in your mama's clothes, sitting in a fucking rocking chair, and now you're having these conversations. Still, more conversations. Nasty work, Edward. Nasty work. In episode 2, you get to see Albert Hitchcock in the process of making Psycho. And Psycho basically took the story of Ed Gein and they made Psycho the movie with Norman Bates. So Alfred Hitchcock, he's with his wife and he's talking to a journalist or basically a documentarian that did all the research on Ed Gein. And he's telling Alfred Hitchcock about Ed Gein so that he can do this movie shit. I thought that this being the first movie play that basically bit from the Ed Gein tragedy, I thought that how they painted this movie for Psycho was amazing. The guy that played Alfred Hitchcock looked just like Son. Oh my gosh, this shit was sickening. I was like, God damn, I wonder what kind of makeup he had to do to look like this. But whatever. Alfred Hitchcock is starting the process to do Psycho, and he's getting all the information. He's making sure that He wants the house to look just like the house looked. He wants to basically what he's doing is he's doing what Ryan Murphy is doing, but he's just turning it into something more palatable, more entertaining than the actual story. And that was the first quote unquote horror movie. Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock, he had an actor, the guy that plays Norman Bates, and he's getting into his role. So he knows that the character that he's playing for Norman Bates is a cross-dresser. He wore his mom's dresses. So he's in the hotel with a dress on and a wig on, and son's gay. The actor is gay. So he's in a hotel with his boyfriend because you can't be gay out loud in 1930s, 1940s. You can't be gay out loud. You got to be gay mad quietly. So they in a hotel together. His boyfriend's having a drink. He sees him wearing that dress and he was just like, yo, son. And this was jealousy. I want y'all to know that this was 100% jealousy. Hey, these was two sassy young white men. But he said, all we ever do is talk about your movie. Like, nigga, this movie is going to be the best shit that ever happened in my career. Yeah, look at yourself. You look ridiculous. You wearing a fucking dress. Blah, blah, blah. You got dick in the hotel room and you want to put a dress on? And they have a little spat and he's just like, bro, I'm going down to the bar where niggas is normal. You up here wearing a fucking dress, Duke. So they have a little spat, and I think it was funny to see the guy trying to get into character, and he's gay. I think it was funny to see that because when we're getting into the story of Psycho and Alfred Hitchcock creating it and the guy that plays Norman Bates, I think all of this stuff is relative. It's very important. Alfred Hitchcock takes the actor on a tour of the set. And he's taking him on this tour and he's breaking shit down to him. He's like, yeah, you know, this movie we're doing, this character is resembling or reenacting what Ed Gein did. And he had a dead body in the crib for mad long. He had a bunch of dead bodies in the crib. And this is the kind of shit that he was doing. And Alfred Hitchcock opens up the refrigerator and Norman Bates looks in the refrigerator and it was 9 pussies in a box. Chat. 9 vaginas in a box. Why would you put pussy in the icebox? That's what my note says to myself. Hey, shit's so good. I want to say something later. Let me go and put this in the fridge real quick. But yeah, pussy's on ice. And here's an explanation into mental health straight from Alfred Hitchcock during this event.
I wish to change cinema to reflect how we are, not how we wish we were. The urges of some individuals are baser than others, but polite society burdens us with the fiction that these urges do not exist. This transforms these urges into secrets we must hide, and these secrets make us sick. Gein had a secret. A sexual dysfunction he could not express, and his inability to express his version of the sexual act turned inwards and transformed into sickness. Schizophrenia, gynophilia, necrophilia. Many actors wanted this role, Mr. Perkins. Montgomery Clift, Roddy McDowell, Lawrence Harvey. But I chose you, because you alone understand this sickness. You have a secret, Mr. Perkins, don't you?
Well, like you said, we all do.
Don't you?
Alfred Hitchcock smoked that shit. Golly, that was fucking good. Great writing, but more so, Alfred Hitchcock having this conversation with Perkins while he's on set, having this one-on-one, man-to-man conversation. What Alfred said was, it's going to take a sick nigga to be the star in this movie. And I know you a sick nigga. I see you. I see what you about. And you couldn't be openly gay back in the 40s. You couldn't be openly gay in the 40s or 50s. And I don't think that Perkins was soft around the edges. Like when people was around, son butched up. He did what most closeted gay people do. They, look at ass or look at her, and like you don't want to see that woman. You like dudes. You like dude butts. You don't like girl butts. But Alfred Hitchcock did this on the tour with Son because he had to let him know this shit's gonna get really fucking crazy. I picked you for this because I know you the same sick type of nigga that Ed Gein is. My note from this shit said, shit's so crazy. People really treated homosexuality like mental illness. That's not crazy to you? But I think back then, having less knowledge about it, not having that understanding, like, shout out to the internet, bro. When these motherfuckers was out here reading out of fucking Encyclopedia Britannicas, we didn't know shit. But having that conversation with the actor, Hitchcock really, I'm not going to say he was holding something over Son's head, but he just had to let him know, like, yo, it's way better actors out here that can do this. But they not going to be able to do this the way that I need them to do it because they not hiding a secret. Like you got that secret, and that's going to be the X factor here. And then Perkins goes to his therapist. I thought this was funny because going to the therapist is normal. Like, hey, shout out to all my people that is going to the therapist. But his therapist, they're having a conversation and he's talking about his homosexuality with his therapist. And he's explaining to Shorty that he gets violently ill after having sex with his boyfriend. My note from this exact point in the show is, maybe you don't like dude butt. Like, hey, if you get violently ill after having sex with somebody, maybe you should stop. Right? Like, look at your partner. If you knew that your partner was running to the bathroom and violently throwing up after sex, do you think that y'all would still be together? But the shrink is telling him, yeah, yo, you getting sick because gay is wrong. Homosexuality is wrong, bro. You shouldn't like dude butt. That's why you getting sick. Because your body knows that you shouldn't like dude butt. But guess what? We can fix that. We can fix you liking dude butt. We can fix that. That's an easy fix, bro. I've fixed a lot of shit today. This is the easiest thing ever. I can make it to where you won't like dude butt no more. So what does he do? He gives him electroshock therapy. I want y'all to know that this was the remedy for everything back then. My cousin had seizures. They said, yo, we should probably shock him. That boy ain't right. We should probably shock him. So they suggested electroshock therapy. They also suggested a lobotomy. I want y'all to pick up your phone right now and Google what a lobotomy is. They take this very sharp object, they stick it up your nose, they hit the frontal lobe of your brain, and then they tap, tap, tap this hammer to basically take out the frontal lobe of your brain. Now, if I like dude butt, what's tapping my brain with a hammer gonna do about me liking dude butt? I just can't see how that fixes the problem. But this is the 1940s, the 1950s. Electroshock therapy, lobotomies, okay, therapy, maybe that was y'all's fix for everything. But yeah, it was weird and it was nasty work. Episode 3 is when the premiere for Psycho happens, and they're following Alfred Hitchcock. He's in the movie theater with his whiz. Oh, also, I love that every time you seen Alfred Hitchcock in this movie, you seen him with his wife. He didn't do shit without his wife, except for one nasty scene. My man cut a hole in the wall of the lady dressing room, put a picture in front of the hole so nobody could see it. That nigga went, moved the picture, looked through the hole like a peephole and started jacking it. I said, God damn, Alf, not my man. My man Alf is a sexual predator. You gonna have that conversation with Perkins about having secrets and you jacking off between holes in the wall. You a nasty motor scooter, Alfred. I love the birds, but you a nasty motor scooter. But at the premiere of Psycho, he's in the movie theater. He's eating popcorn with his queen, and he's just sitting in there. And people are reacting to this movie. And this is also how you can tell that we're way more desensitized to violence today, because people was at this premiere freaking the fuck out. When he caught the body in the shower scene, niggas was running out the theater, throwing up. A lady was pregnant. I think that shit induced her going into labor. People was passing out. I thought that was a great depiction of how times have changed. Now, like I said, this Ed Gein story birthed the horror genre into what it is today that you know, because a lot of people have taken some of these things and they've made great franchises around it. But when you look at that as a genre, a lot of the shit that they're doing, Ed did at the crib. But I thought that was peace. Ed was at the crib. Ed's at the crib wearing his mama's dress. He's been getting to it. He got some skin. He wearing skin. He's wearing skin. He's wearing skin from dead bodies. He's digging up dead bodies and he's wearing skin. He went to the bar one night. The bartender was just talking to him. He's like, yo, you built like my mom, bro. I put that shit in my notes. Yo, never tell a woman that she's built like your mother. I don't know who needed to hear that, but never tell a woman she's built like your mom. I don't think that's a compliment. But Ed's a slow guy. That boy ain't right. And everybody in town kind of knows it. So when he said that to Shorty, she's just like, yo, drink your beer and get the fuck out of here, bro. But he told her, like, yo, I love my mom. My mom's the best woman on earth to me. Like, me telling you built like her is a compliment. She didn't fully understand or feel like it was a compliment, but Shorty was a madam. In her previous life, before she came to Wisconsin to hide out, she was a madam in Chicago. And she told Ed, yo, I can get you some hoes. I still know people. You lonely at that crib? Let me get you some hoes. Ed's wheels started spinning. His mom's voice starts speaking to him. He starts having this delusion of grandeur from that fucking comic book about Isa. And he starts imagining like what it was like for Isa in Germany with the Jews. At the same time, he's in the bar. He shoots Shorty. He takes her body, takes it back to the crib. And that's when he starts his experimenting with cutting skin, prepping the skin, doing whatever you need to do. But he's wearing Shorty's face in the crib and his mama's dress. And then he gets a knock at the door. Y'all remember Miss Doubtfire when he put his face in the cake and he was like, hello. That's exactly how Ed looked in the crib wearing Shorty's skin on his face and a wig. But when the cops came to the crib, he had to take that fucking skin off. He throws on a coat, still wearing the dress, by the way. Nasty work, Eddie. But the sheriff comes through. They grill him quickly at the front door. Like, yo, somebody said you was at the bar last night. Looked like a crime scene, but we just want to know if you was at the bar. He was just like, nope, wasn't at the bar, bro. Wasn't me. I couldn't even get my car started yesterday. I was in here with my mom. Yo, you want to ask my mom? You want to come inside and ask my mom? Now, Eddie, that's a dangerous game, brother. Because if they call you on your bluff, they're coming inside. And your mom ain't gonna be able to talk back to these niggas. So I didn't know where you was trying to take the culture. You a slow-witted young man. I don't think that you was a real suspect because what the fuck? But he says, hey, you want to ask my mom? And, you know, she not well. She not mobile. You know, she had that stroke. And the sheriff's is just sitting there like, damn. Your mom had that stroke, right? Yeah, we heard about it. She not doing good? Yeah, man, that's crazy. These niggas don't even know Shorty died. And they're cops, bro. That's fucking nuts. Just imagine that shit. But anyway. There was an introduction to the trans community in episode 3. And that was another obsession that Ed got. And he carried that shit for the rest of the show. So a lot of things that he was doing really screamed that he felt like he was a man, a woman trapped in a man's body. You know, when they talked about him preserving the vulvas in his home and cutting the vulvas off of these dead bodies, son was taking the pussy and putting it in his underwear and dancing in the mirror, just like in that scene where son did the tuck from Silence of the Lambs. Yo, Ed Gein, nasty work. You're a nasty motor scooter. What else we got? Oh, back to Perkins. Perkins got the shock therapy. He broke up with his man. He goes to the movie theater. I'm assuming this is a gay movie theater, but he goes to this movie theater. He's in there. A black dude sits next to him, and the black dude just starts giving him head in the theater. I like knowing that niggas was still getting active in the movie theaters way back in the 50s. I like that. I know we didn't invent it. Like, I know my generation didn't invent it, but I just like knowing that niggas was, you know, getting active in the movie theater. I didn't care that he was getting active with a dude, especially a black dude. Like, come on, Wisconsin. Where you find a gay black dude in Wisconsin in 1950? Or whatever. That's neither here nor there. So they get back to the hotel room and Perkins sits down with his gay black gentleman and they talking and Perkins is just like, yo, that shit was real good. You know, hey, it's been real kicking it with you, my guy. But, when you walk out that door, this shit is done. This shit is over with. And look at me. Cause I love watching like people like break up and shit. Like I love watching couples argue. Not knowing like they business, just couples arguing is funny. Like it used to make you feel uncomfortable when your parents argued. But watching other couples that you're not connected to argue is low key a vibe. Like if you're a people watcher, you like watching people argue too. That's why we do it online every day. We'll see somebody arguing online and you just hit the comments and get some popcorn going. But son told his black boyfriend, I guess it was his boyfriend, he's like, yo, as soon as you walk out that door, this shit is done. Like we done. We not doing this no more. And then my notes say, Perkins the real fucking monster. Cause that's some monster shit. How you can head in the movie theater and then get back to the telly and then you tell son, yeah, yo, this shit is over with. We just had sex, bro. You can't ghost me after we have public head. Like you can't ghost me after that. That don't get me an extra couple of days on the program. You never beat and then been like, damn, I gotta stop fucking shorty because I really want to break up. And like having sex kind of sends the wrong message. So when it's hard to break up when you're actively fucking somebody. But not for Perkins, bro. Perkins is the real monster in this TV series, yo. Hey, Perkins, you the next season 4 is gonna be about Perkins, bro. That's all I know. Episode 4. Ed Gein is dating a girl. He's still trying to date Shorty, but he's taking it real slow with her. She's not giving him the buns. She's kind of preoccupied fucking a cop, and she's fucking a cop on the low. But Ed Gein's at the damn hardware store, and it's this old lady in there. And I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Them titties was sitting in this dress. They really highlighted her little cleavage. This old lady cleavage too. But Eddie, my note says Eddie can't close the deal. But Eddie ran the best Forrest Gump type of game I ever seen in my life. Like you watch Rain Man. Rain Man wasn't getting buns, bro. Rain Man wasn't closing the deal. He gotta watch Wapner. You feel me? But Ed Gein, he was in there and he starts, well, yeah, you know, I think you're a lovely lady. And he starts talking to Shorty, and I think it's because he's slow that people just feel good talking to him. I got the same problem. I'm not slow though, but I got the same problem. Like people just like talking to me. I got big ears. Niggas just think I want to listen to their life problems, and niggas just start confiding in me. Well, she was doing the same thing with Ed, and Ed's just like, yo, I ain't got no money. That's why I couldn't buy this hardware today. But I got a line of credit down at the pharmacy. Let me treat you to a meal, shorty. And this is an old woman. Like her son is a cop. Her son is the sheriff. Her son is the same nigga that's fucking Ed's real life girlfriend. That's crazy. But he takes her to the pharmacy. They get something to eat, and the whole time he is really not good at hiding the fact that he's peeping Shorty's titties. So he's like looking dead at her chest, and women say this all the time. When men talk to you, they talk to your chest. Like they say that all the time. But he was really looking at her cleavage and going crazy at the table while she was eating. She starts smoking a cigarette. She was like, yeah, this is going to help me eat. And she sees him admiring her, chest. And he's like, what's up with that bra? And she's talking about her ex. She's like, oh yeah, my ex bought me this and blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, yo, can I get that? Ed, unmatched. That was a master class. He asked for the bra. She took the shit off right there at the table without taking her dress off. She takes off the bra. She slides it to this nigga under the table. Y'all want to know what my man did? Y'all want to know what my man did? She said, smell it. And Eddie smelt it, bro. He smelt the bra. And then I type in my notes, am I a sick nigga for being aroused? Yo, hey, if you don't even watch the show, please watch episode 4. She's not a baddie. She's a classic white. She looks like Designing Women, Golden Girls type white. Wisconsin white. They get back to the crib. She got some wine. She starts drinking the wine. She chugged the wine like that shit was a fucking Bud Light. She drank the wine so fucking fast. I put that shit in the notes. Yo, shorty chugged that shit like it was a twisted tea. So she drinks the wine. And I knew shit was finna get X-rated. I promise you, as soon as they got back to the crib, I'm like, he's just doing the gentleman shit. There's a big age gap here. She not finna let something be. That's what I'm saying. I'm literally narrating this shit because I'm black. That's why I can't go to a lot of horror movies in the theaters, because I'm really black. I'm like, yo, she not finna let this nigga in the crib. She lets him in. They start having a nightcap. He's drinking the wine all slow and conservatively. She chugged that shit. And I'm like, oh, it's about to get X-rated. She take the fucking dress off, and then I put in the notes, that weak ass titty set Ed Gein over the moon, bro. That weak ass titty, that bra gave Shorty a lot of help, but that weak ass titty sent that nigga to the moon. And then he gets the dress, well, he don't get the dress off, but he takes the panties down. And then Ed smelled the panties. And I said, look at this nigga. He want to be me so fucking bad. Ed Gein, look, now I might be a monster too, bro. Maybe I'm a monster. I didn't think that there was anything wrong with that proclivity, but Ed made me start looking at myself a little different. It's different getting dressed in the morning. I gotta look in the mirror and say, me and Ed Gein is into some of the same shit. That's a problem in my life right now. Side note. Shorty got beat. Dirty talking in a Wisconsin accent is the nastiest fucking stat ever. I don't know if y'all are aware. If you from the Midwest, I'm sorry. But Minnesota, Wisconsin, those Midwestern accents are fucking terrible. I'd rather Shorty talk me through it with a Baltimore accent before a Wisconsin accent. And she was talking my nigga Ed Gein through it. Nasty fucking work. Ed beat that old lady Doonies the fuck down. I think it might have been his first piece of tail. Ed comes through the next day. Well, he goes home. He's smelling his fingers. He's smelling the bra. He's smelling the panties. Then the nigga's putting the bra and the panties on. Nasty work, Edward. Very nasty work, sir. Stop wearing panties, bro. Episode 1, you just gonna raw dog some dress pants. Episode 4, you wearing that old lady panties and bra. Nasty work. But the next day, well, when he's at home, he's dancing around in this shit. He's doing his thing, and then his mom's voice is in his head. And his mom is talking about Shorty, calling her a harlot, saying that she got STDs, saying that she fuck with married niggas. And she do. She fucked with a married nigga. But she explained it to Ed like, yo, he was married. He left his wife so that we could be together. And then his wife killed herself. So he didn't want to be with me no more. That's peace, right? Like, I don't want to talk about your X-Files. But if Shorty gave you that explanation, why is your dead mom in your head cock blocking you, Edward? Stop letting your dead mom cock block you, Edward. On my soul, that shit threw me, because where are you going to find a young lady that's going to let you wear her bra, let you smell her panties, drink wine like it's Bud Light, let you beat the Doonies down on the first date? She work at the hardware store. Shorty was a prize. Edward, I don't think you could have did better than that. And you poor. You a poor farmer, bro. Go on and keep the hardware store Shorty on the roster. You needed that. That was a level up for you, Edward. But you know what happens when you get too close to being successful? You start getting scared. You feel me? When you're doing so good in life, just think about your life. You doing really good. You having a great day. Guess what? Your check engine light came on. Now you fucked up in the game, right? Eddie was fucking so close to being successful with this older woman. He was going to level his life up. But he got scared because it felt too good. Shit was coming too easy. And I don't think Ed had buns like that before. I don't think Eddie had buns like that before. But he let Shorty, he let his mom control him even from the grave. I didn't care for that. He goes to the crib for a quick lunch with Shorty. She had a box. Said for Edward. She got some nice sandwiches. She lit some candles. And she started pouring the wine at lunchtime. Fellas, if you get you a woman that can drink during the day, never give her up. I promise you, you've won in life. If your partner will enjoy some afternoon drinking, you won. It don't get no better than that. Like, that might seem like the smallest shit ever, but trust me, if you start pouring up a drink at 1:00 on a Tuesday afternoon and your queen look at you and just start, so we doing that? Oh, it must be 5:00 somewhere, huh? Those little microaggressions, I promise you, it's going to be a hard day for you, buddy. Ed had it. Shorty wanted to drink wine in the middle of the day and eat Italian submarine sandwiches. That's a true queen. A true queen is going to make you an Italian submarine sandwich. Guess what was in the box, chat? You fucking guessed it. Panties. Bras. Shorty said, yo, I got a collection and I wanted to give you some. And I know that young man, he was flustered. Oh man, he was flustered. I was sitting there like, these niggas about to get married. I was happy for my guy. I was like, yo, he finally found the one, bro. He finally found the one. Nope. This nigga gonna tell Shorty to her face, yo, you burning. You burning. I wash my dick off in your sink, but I know you burning. You fuck married man. You just a Jezebel. He called Shorty a Jezebel. Hey, that's my new bag too. It's no more hoes and bitches. Nah. That shit, y'all are desensitized to that. Jezebels. He called Shorty a Jezebel. You would have thought he said the C word to Shorty. She was mad hurt. She started crying. She got emotional. She never let a nigga beat on the first night before. She never let a nigga wear her bra before, but she was down for it. She was kink friendly. For all you feet niggas out there, find you a young lady that's okay with you taking pictures of her feet while she's sleeping. But this young lady was down for it, and Eddie just couldn't get out of his own way. Chat, I was distraught. I was disappointed. I never in my life wanted to stop watching a show as much as I did right then and there. And I know a lot of people reviewing this show, they're talking about it and they're telling you, yeah, I couldn't finish it. It was too weird. It was too graphic. Nah, I finished this shit in one day. I turned this shit on. I'm on watch number 3 right now as we speak. I finished it in one day because I was just really into the story and I wanted to see how it ended. I thought the acting was excellent. No, this is funny because I put in my notes, Eddie got buyer's remorse after he beat. He definitely fumbled because how often you gonna find the lady that supports your kinks and let you beat on the first night? Like this is the shit that I'm saying, chat. Eddie's a real psycho. Eddie's a real sociopath because none of the shit that Shorty was offering was anything that any other man would turn away. No man beat on the first night and said, you know what, I should judge you because of this. No man ever said that. Women say it. Women will judge you for beating on the first night. Women will judge other women who get beat on the first night. But no man has ever looked at a woman and said, we'll never be serious now because you let me beat on the first night. My nigga, you cooperated. What are you talking about? What exactly are you talking about? If you were so disgusted, why you beat? Shout out to Ed Gein, man, but you fucked up. You fumbled, bro. My notes are accurate. You fumbled. I'm disgusted about that. You're a nasty young man, Edward. Episode 5. In previous monster series, episode 5 is usually the best episode in the series. If you go back, you watch the Menendez brothers, episode 5 was a masterclass. That was the interrogation episode. Well, not the interrogation episode. That was the episode where the Menendez brothers were in jail and they were meeting with their lawyers individually, but they were kind of giving the background on their essay. And it was just a one-shot deal. One camera rotating around both characters. The camera work was immaculate. Like, it was just great. So when I step into this, I'm thinking episode 5 for Ed Gein is going to be that masterclass of cinema. It wasn't episode 5 for Ed Gein. For Ed Gein, it was episode 6. But episode 5, it starts with the guy that made the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So just like episode 2 talked a lot about Alfred Hitchcock and him creating Psycho, episode 5 was the breakdown of how the Texas Chainsaw Massacre began. And it starts off as a little kid hearing about, guys getting murdered by a chainsaw in the next town over at the dinner table. And mom was sitting there like, don't tell that story at the dinner table. And the kid grew up and he's in the mall during Christmas time and he's shopping and the line is fucking long as hell. And then he sees a chainsaw for sale and he's imagining him catching bodies with this chainsaw to make the line go smoother. And he just started writing this shit. And then they show him in the process of creating Leatherface. And Leatherface was wearing other people's skin, just like Ed Gein. So he did all his research about what Ed Gein did. And he created the Leatherface character in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise off of Ed Gein's IP. So I thought episode 5 was excellent. And a lot of my notes for episode 5 about Adelaide, that's Ed Gein's girlfriend, a lot of my notes during episode 5, I'm saying, I don't know if this shorty is real or not. Because we know Ed has these delusions. We know that he kind of lives in his own little fantasy world. We know that. Is that great storytelling and world building if you're 5 episodes into a series and you're still questioning if some characters are real? Or are we just burnt because we've seen movies like Fight Club, where you think Brad Pitt is a real motherfucker the whole movie, but he ain't even really there. Edward Norton's just crazy. Like, have we just been burnt to this, or have we seen this movie before, so we just don't know what to believe, or we making up our own endings? I thought that was a really good point, but I also thought with his schizophrenia, with his mental health issues, and with you seeing him living through his fantasies a lot, I thought that that's exactly what Ryan Murphy wanted. He wanted you to be watching this shit saying, yeah, I wonder if Shorty's real or not. Like he wins when shit like that happens. Like Ryan Murphy wins, so that was a good gold star for him on that one. All right, I want to be immature really quick. Not that I've been the most mature person this entire joint, but I want to be immature really quick. Ed Gein got a dead body, a fresh joint. His girl put him on. Yo, Shorty just died a week ago. She buried right here. They went to the graveyard. Like, his secret's out. She knows what he be doing with the dead bodies, bringing them back to the crib. She knows. Secret's out. So she puts him on to a dead body. I thought that was a little weird. That's why I started questioning if she was real or not, because what kind of psychopath finds another psychopath and they do psycho shit together? Like, is this fucking that movie with Woody Harrelson? What's that movie? Serial killer or something? I don't know. But she finds this dead body and she's like, yeah, going to take that to the crib and, like, you know, do what you got to do, Edward. And Edward did it. Edward put Shorty on the kitchen table and he got busy. He put in work on that dead body. I was very uncomfortable with the eye contact. I don't know why they needed the POV, the porno POV view for this. Having sex with a dead body is one thing, but don't make direct eye contact with me while you're doing it. Right? Like, don't look me in the eyes when you having sex with a dead body. I'm uncomfortable, dog. That's exactly what my note said. I'm uncomfortable, dog. And I can't be alone that the eye contact he was making with the camera while he was taking that body through there made all of y'all uncomfortable. So if you don't watch the series, watch episode 5 just so you can feel uncomfortable like me. And maybe that's why some people ain't finishing, because that shit was weird. Episode 6, the masterclass for the series. My first note, yo, this nigga Ed got caught over some panties because he killed Shorty. He killed the old lady. Once they were having their breakup conversation, he killed Shorty. He takes her to the crib, but he killed her just like he killed Shorty at the bar. He shot her, and then he just left the store. Locked up, left the store. But he also left the box with the panties in it, and it said to Ed Gein. So this is the second crime scene like this. But I told y'all, the old lady's son is a cop. He also came to Ed Gein's crib when the bartender got killed. So when I wrote down this thing got caught because of some panties, like, yo, Ed, why you ain't take the panties, bro? You into that. That's your bag. It's bad enough that you done killed the lady that's cool with your kink, but then you left the kink? Is you really a panty sniffer or not, nigga? But whatever, that's neither here nor there. I'm in here thinking that him beating Shorty down was a delusion. But no, he really beat the sheriff mama. Like, I'm thinking, oh man, that shit ain't really happened. It was a cool scene, but that ain't really happened. No, he really beat. And then he killed Shorty, and then he took her to the crib, and I think she might have had the first preserved vulva. But I don't know. We didn't get to keep a count. But I was very confused. I was very confused because these niggas assembled the Avengers. They go to Ed Gein's house because this is the sheriff's mom. So he's emotional. He goes to the hardware store. Is blood on the wall. Cash register gone. His mama ain't there. He ain't seen his mom. She never missed a day of work. She not at the crib. He's just on some shit like, where's my mom? My mom's a missing person. Like, he's in that point. He's in that denial where he hasn't even accepted that something might have happened to his mom. But what they do know is she left a gift for this nigga Ed Gein. So we riding out. We going to this nigga Ed Gein's crib. It's not lost on us that the bartender goes missing. Looks like a crime scene at the bar. Somebody said they seen Ed Gein there, and now the same shit happens again at the hardware store, and we got a gift for Ed Gein. Nah, that's not lost on us. So they pull up to the crib. They go in the house because Eddie ain't home. My nigga Edward has been living in the filth, bro. In the filthiest of filth. He's at the graveyard just snatching up dead bodies, taking them back to the crib, cutting their skin off, boiling shit down. His house stink. It's moths in his house. I know what that house smelled like. I've been to a stinky house before. You ever sat next to somebody and they smell like their house? You know what I'm talking about? When somebody smells like their home, like, you don't stink. But I've been to your crib and you smell like you've been in your crib. It's not like it. I don't want the easy thing to say is smokers. You know, you smokers, you smoke inside your house. Your whole house smells like smoke, and your clean clothes smell like smoke. Nah. I'm just talking about somebody that smells like their house, and not you Indians either. I mean somebody that really smell like their crib. But yeah, they all posted up. They see his crib. They call back up. It's a gang of cops there. And they're just doing cop shit, taking pictures, collecting evidence. These niggas it looks like an episode of First 48. Like, these niggas is getting to it. It's a bunch of chairs in this house. This nigga his signature was putting the nipple on a chair. So he cut your skin from your torso and he'd make it the seat for the chair, and it was a nipple on there. And that was his signature. All the chairs had a nipple on them somewhere. Like, he just left the nipple there. So the nigga liked titties. I think he wanted to have a pair, but he liked titties enough to make the nipple the signature of all his furniture. lampshades, all kinds of shit. These niggas is sick. The cops are disgusted at this shit. Why this nigga Ed Gein pull up to the house? This nigga Ed came home. He came home. I'm shocked and confused, but this is a normal day for Ed. Like, Ed was just minding his white ass crazy man business, and he pulls up at the house, and it's 47 cop cars outside. It's 100 cops on the premises, and Ed Gein looked as shocked as I was. I had the same confused look as the cops. The cops, when he pulled up and got out the car, he was just like, "Hey guys, how's everything going?" And the cops is looking at him. I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the cops. But episode 6 was the best episode of the series. The cop finds his mom in the barn with her vulva cut out. She's hanging upside down, no head. The vulva's out. Very poor cutting job, Edward, but he finds his own mom. So he's having a breakdown. Thanksgiving's the next fucking week or whatever. So he does his thing. He buries his mom. Very insensitive message from the pastor. He's talking about the body and the body and the body of Christ, and the body is just a vessel and the soul, blah, blah, blah. But he's really putting an emphasis on the body. And I think that was supposed to kind of give some reassurance to the victim's family, because the body was mutilated. So it's like, hey, the body might have been mutilated, but don't take it that deep. It's not that deep, bro. Her soul is still pure. Her soul is in heaven with the man. But I was like, yo, son, why you keep emphasizing the body like that? What's up? Hey, my nigga, is you good? Like, I felt like Joe Budden when Maul was talking about Sin Santana talking dirty. He's like, yo, Sin don't talk like that. Sin don't talk like that. Nah, Sin don't give it up like that. And Joe Budden's just sitting there like, yo, what's up, my nigga? What's up? You good, my nigga? Like, I felt like that. But Thanksgiving comes around. The sheriff, his boss, is like, yo, I ain't gonna let you be alone for Thanksgiving. Come to my crib. The sheriff is a man, bro. The sheriff is a typical man. He's setting up for Thanksgiving. He get his wife a gift. What's the gift that he give his wife? A fucking electric knife. I'm waiting the whole fucking episode. I'm like, this cop gonna fucking kill himself at the Thanksgiving table. He's gonna kill himself. He's grieving. He's gonna see this electric knife cutting through a turkey. He's gonna start thinking about his mom's. He's gonna kill himself. Like, this is gonna be fucking cinema. It's not what happened. That is not what happened. Was I disappointed when it didn't happen? A little bit. A little bit. I was a little disappointed when this shit didn't happen, but the episode, the rest of the season evolves and his character starts developing into what his life would be like after his mom. I did write down, you definitely should not offer somebody who's grieving alcohol. I did write that down. The sheriff offered his mans some alcohol. He said, yo, have a drink, bro. It's your first Thanksgiving without your mom's. Have a drink. I won't hear nothing else but you taking this drink. And then I put down the notes. Offering a grieving nigga a drink? Could that definitely end problematic? You fucking right, it ended problematic. Soon as I said that, they start focusing on that fucking electric knife. He's getting lit at the boss's house, watching them cut up this turkey with this electric knife, thinking that this is the type of shit Ed Gein was doing to his mama. Episode 7 comes. My man is drunk as fuck. He's showing up to work drunk. You know how lit that is? I want y'all to know. Going to work drunk. I don't advise it. I do not advise it. But going to work drunk at some point has to be a rite of passage for all you alcoholics. If you can go do your job drunk, you get a gold star. You get a gold star for the most seriousness of your job. Being a cop is a pretty serious job, right? Being the sheriff in a small town in Wisconsin, that feels like a really, really important job. If you can show up and do that job under the influence of alcohol, oh man, you're doing it for the boys. Yeah. Episode 7. My man was out here doing the damn thing drunk, and his boss pulled him up and said, yo, is you drinking, bro? And that's how you know you failed. You got a little bit too lit. Whatever day you got detected or questioned for being drunk at work, have 1 or 2 less drinks the next time you're going to drink before your shift. You hit your limit. You can go undetectable, but you gotta know your limit. You gotta know your drinking limit. But yeah, he was drunk as fuck at work. And then I said, you see how fast that happens? You see how fast that was? There was a bloodlust scene at an auction because Ed Gein's in custody. He's going to jail. Well, he's not going to jail. He's going to the crazy house. And this cop's got a real big issue with it. But they're auctioning off all of Ed Gein's stuff. And he wants it to sell because he's entitled to some money because he's suing Ed Gein. He's suing Ed Gein so that he can get paid. All the other victims, and there's not a lot of victims, but there are victims because he was doing a lot of shit with dead bodies. So all this shit is happening, and he is working on auctioning this shit off. So he's got the crib. He's at the crib and he's doing a fucking walkthrough every Saturday and Sunday. He got a bullhorn telling niggas like, yo, you can come in here. You want to buy one of these lamps, nigga? Buy a lamp. Hey, you want to buy some of the books that this nigga was reading? Buy some of these books. Anything that wasn't evidence, he was selling it. His boss didn't like it, but he was, I don't give a fuck what you like, bro. You can't tell me what to do in my personal life. So he's working on getting all this shit sold. And yeah, his boss found somebody to do him a favor and got that shit burnt down. And as soon as that shit got burnt down, he shows up. My man whose mom got, he shows up. And he was just like, yo, you burnt the crib down? And he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I literally just got here, bro. What do you mean I burnt this shit down? Like, yes, bro, we know you burnt it down because he was making a spectacle of it. The sheriff just wanted the town to fucking move on. The sheriff didn't want that stain on Plainfield, Wisconsin. But you're trying to monetize off of this. You're capitalizing off of this financially, and I want this shit to go away. I got people traveling from all over the world to come do tours in this house and buy shit. You're inviting a very dangerous type of energy. Yes, my nigga, I burnt down this house because I just want to be done with this shit. I want this shit to be over. My man had Ed Gein's car. He sold Ed Gein's car. This shit pissed me off. He sold it for $10. He sold a fucking car for $10 American dollars, bro. 10 bucks. I want to sell a fucking car for 10. Well, I want to buy a car for $10 and have it be worth a damn. Ed Gein's in the crazy house. My note here says Ed Gein is living the fucking life in the crazy house. And he was. But I also wrote question mark. Is this a delusion? Nah, my son Ed Gein was living the life. He was profiting off his own crime. And I thought it was funny because he was profiting off of his own crime and people were sending him money. He was asking people to take some of this money and go get him some bras and panties so that he can, do that shit he liked to do, but do it in the crazy house. He was like a celebrity in the crazy house. And I thought that the irony in this is that people making money off of their crimes stops with Dahmer. I thought that was funny, and I wrote that down because in the Dahmer series, we saw him getting money, and then somebody said, yo, you shouldn't be able to make money off of this wrong, evil shit you did. And guess what? That shit stopped. It never happened again. But I thought it was funny because the two Wisconsin boys kind of lived off of that shit. Episode 7 was great. There was a really good fucking speech in episode 7. And I want to play that speech for you now.
Why do you want to talk to me?
I'm a big admirer of yours. I'm just a small town fella myself, simple like, but...
Oh, Mr. Gein, I read about you. I know who you are.
Well, in that case, maybe you know that, well, you and I kind of share the same hobby. I seen it in the comic books.
Oh, lies. Nothing is true. I wouldn't hurt a fly. Jews. That is different. That was necessary. They betray my people. They destroy my country. They destroyed my Führer. They made a monster out of my Führer, the way they made me a monster. My Führer, he used to take branches from the pine trees, and he would make wonderful, beautiful wreaths, like the crown for the head. He gave me one once. So I ask you, would a monster do something like that?
Well, probably, yes.
And I never ride on the donkey in my underwear with the möpse hanging out, flapping in the wind like Marlene Dietrich. I would never do that, Mr. Gein. Yes, I threw a few parties. I was helping my husband. But the skin lamps with the tattoos and the shrunken heads, I would never do that. They make me the monster. The bitch of the Buchenwald. Don't believe that. They make monsters, the people, because they need someone to blame for the acts of the human condition. So they take the monster, and they catch it, and they put it on the village square, and they hang it for everyone to see, to spit on it, and to bond over. So everything can go back in order. And the weak ones go back in the line. And this is how you control the society. But me, I'm not the monster. Who would do the things they accuse me of? A nipple belt. I ask you, Mr. Gein.
I actually did do that also.
Well, you are a very sick animal, Mr. Gein.
What they were depicting in that scene was Ed talking to Isla Koch, the German Nazi lady who basically inspired him to go on this run. And he's having this conversation with her over a ham radio. And I was like, nah, son ain't really talking to Shorty on a ham radio. Like, why would the fucking crazy house give this nigga a ham radio so he could talk to a Nazi bitch? I got all the people in the world. But he wasn't really having that conversation with Shorty. He was having the conversation with his shrink. And his schizophrenia put him into a world of his fantasy to where every time he sat down with his shrink, he was talking to somebody that inspired him. So there was a person that was, I guess they were transsexual, so they became a woman, and he sent the ham radio to that person. And he was talking to that person about him and his ideas of being a trans. He was talking to Isla Koch. He was talking to a couple of different people with this ham radio, and the whole time I'm sitting there watching this shit like, okay, so this is some therapeutic shit for him. And this is all him working through his emotions, his feelings. And then I said, man, it's going to be really fucking sad when this nigga finds out his ham radio isn't real. This is going to be really, really fucking sad. And when he found out that the ham radio wasn't real and that he was really sitting in the fucking shrink's office talking to the shrink, the look on that nigga's face was so bad, bro. He was defeated. He was the most defeated you've seen him in the entire series. That's when the reality sits in. And the more time that he's spending in the crazy house, you're seeing the crazy house get really fucking crazy. It's not just people in there with multiple personalities or whatever. It's real fucking crazy criminals in here. And he's not having his normal day where he's walking around and he's just, hey everybody, how you doing? I'm super famous. Oh, hi everybody. Like, he was like Mr. fucking Rogers' Neighborhood in that bitch. Nah, that shit evolved. Them niggas got crazier. And he starts walking around and he's uncomfortable. And everybody looks at that shit and it's like, nah, nigga shouldn't have went to the crazy house. He should have went to jail. I think the crazy house was the right place for him. And seeing the conditions of a crazy hospital was pretty amazing because he still wasn't safe. He was in there with real crazy, and I don't want to say real crazy people like he wasn't crazy. But I think he met his match. I think there were crazier people in there. Episode 7 is also where you kind of get introduced to some of the other serial killers. John Wayne Gacy was in there. A couple other serial killers were in there, and the FBI, they started having these conversations with these other serial killers, and to have those conversations to help them catch criminals that were out in the free world, they kind of had to meet them at their level. And there was a sick nigga in there, and they said, yo, we kind of need some information. We know your price, bro. We got you some red high heel pumps. And this nigga face lit up and he was just like, what? You got me red high heel pumps. He was just like, yo, I'm going nut in these pumps until I can fill the pumps up. And I was just like, hold on a second, my nigga. You gonna do what? And then this nigga was just like, yo, I'm not going to be able to concentrate on talking to you guys until I can fucking put these red pumps on. And he puts them on. He puts them on in the interrogation. This nigga's in custody already. They're asking son for a favor. Help us catch this other sick nigga out in the free world. And this nigga's so obsessed with these red high heel shoes. This nigga's like, yo, bro, as soon as y'all leave, I'm finna treat my body like an amusement park. Very nasty work, sir. Very nasty work. Excellent execution. I done ran through damn near all the episodes. We almost at the 2-hour mark. I can't emphasize enough. I think you all should watch this show. And don't give me that, I don't want to romanticize a killer. You watch Jason, bro. You watch Freddy Krueger. It don't make the romanticizing different because the nigga's not a real character. I think it's good to see how the impact of mental health can be, but I also think it's really good to see what happens when you get some of the best acting from people in obscure shows. I seen Jax in Sons of Anarchy, Mad Seasons. I didn't think Son could act for real. I seen him in other things. He stinks. He was so good in this shit, I didn't even know it was him. Is he ever going to win an award for this? Fuck no. Absolutely not. But is he going to get 10s in my crib? You're fucking right.
This is culturally inappropriate.
Hello, this is the new podcast. Used podcast. Hello, this is the used podcast.
You want to see a dead body?